Alright, so before we get into this video, some people think that I hate Honkai now, and I'm now just bashing it all over the place. The fact is, it's the complete opposite. I played Honkai hardcore, non-stop, for more than 2 years now. Do I hate the game? Absolutely not. I still care about the game enough to make a video like this, so hopefully the game can get better. If I really hate the game, I wouldn't even waste my time on it at all. The fact is, the problems I'm gonna discuss in this video has been in the game ever since it was released. I still play the game for more than 2 years despite all the issues, because the core game was extremely fun. But eventually, the game got less fun for me, because the devs have made some questionable decisions. And the elves are just the last straw that broke the camel's back. In this video, I'll discuss, in my opinion, what are the core problems with Honkai. And no, it's not the elves or anything like that. I'm not a game design expert or anything, but I did play many different games throughout my entire life. I think at the most basic level, games are very simple. You provide compelling gameplay so the players have fun while playing your game. And at the end of the game, you give the players some rewards to acknowledge their efforts. I think we can all agree that Honkai has some of the best gameplay in the mobile market. The game has been out for nearly 3 years now, and there's still no direct competitors that can replicate the same gameplay experience. So I think all the problems come from the reward part, and I'm going to discuss 3 major issues with the game. The farmable gear in Honkai really suck. Just take a look at the top memorial and abyss brackets, and you'll see 95% of the gears used are purely from gacha. The farmable gear in Honkai for the most part serves as subpar replacement until you get the best gacha gear. Let's just compare some farmable stigma with gacha stigma, and the difference is pretty obvious. Now the core gameplay loop for Honkai is very similar to most MMORPGs. You are constantly trying to improve your character to fight harder content. Imagine in a game like World of Warcraft, all the raids drop only subpar gear, and the best gear can only be acquired through gacha. That would be absolutely ridiculous. So in most successful games, they have farming exclusive top tier gears. It keeps players in the game working towards that shiny new armor with OP stats. The logic is simple. The longer players play, the more likely they're willing to spend cash. However, Honkai really does not have that. They occasionally make outdated gacha gear farmable, but you can never truly make a top tier character through just grinding. The game relies solely on gacha as means of progression, and most of the farmable gears is just a subpar replacement until you get the gacha gear. This isn't such a big deal if the gacha is good, but guess what? The Honkai gacha
sucks balls.
Now let's take a look at the Newton set. The top piece is slightly above average, the mid piece is absolute trash, and the bottom piece is insanely good. Now imagine 3 players all try to pull Newton set, and each got 1 piece. One person will be happy, one will be like, whatever, and the last person will rage because he got the trash Newton mid. Keep in mind that all 3 pieces of Newton cost exactly the same amount of crystals, and the guy gets Newton boss now has an insane advantage over the other 2 people. This scenario perfectly sums up the Honkai gacha. The quality of gear is just so imbalanced, it drives people mad. Another big problem with the gacha is the duplicates. There's a saying in China, and it goes something like this. Dropping $100 into this game and get 0 upgrades. This is a real issue. Getting duplicates in most cases is a bad thing. And as you get deeper into the game, the chances of getting duplicate also increases. Between the duplicates and the bad gears, Honkai Gacha is just a nightmare. For a game that relies this much on the gacha, you can see why this is a big issue. And I'm not even gonna get into the character gacha in Honkai. The character gacha alone is a topic worth doing a full video. For now, I wanna know in the comment section how many people you knew quit the game because of some bad gacha pulls. But wait, there's one last issue, which I think is the root of all evil in this game. Before I get into the last problem, I want you to think, which game modes in Honkai gives the most amount of reward? Take a moment and think about it. The answer is obviously Abyss and Memorial Arena. The Abyss gives ridiculous amounts of crystals if you compare it to any other event. For example, let's take a look at this patch's big event, the Honkai Kingdom event. Each run of Honkai Kingdom gives around 300 crystals, so the entire Honkai Kingdom event actually gives less crystal than retaining Red Lotus for just a week. I was very busy over the last few weeks due to moving, so I missed the first half of the Honkai Kingdom event, and I didn't feel bad at all. The reward from all other activities in the game is just too insignificant compared to Abyss and Memorial, so these two modes are the bread and butter for all veteran players. Now guess what these two modes have in common? They're both PvP modes. In both of these modes, you are competing with other players 100% of the time for better rewards. So let's imagine two players here with the same skill and gear, and they're both sitting at exact same score for rank 100 in Memorial Arena. So they dipped into the Newton Gacha. Player A got Newton bot and player B got Newton mid. You can guess what's gonna happen. Player A is gonna win and player B is gonna lose. In order to prevent this from happening, player B pulls out his credit card, and suddenly, Lady Luck smiled upon him. Player B pulled 2 Newton bots. Now player B gets to top 100, and player A is like, oh crap. So he goes to his bank and withdraws his life saving, and the cycle continues. We actually have a special word for this case. It is called the dollar auction. I won't get into this in detail here, but I strongly suggest you Google the dollar auction. It's pretty interesting. Basically what I'm trying to say is that PvP in Honkai isn't that healthy. Eventually you burn out and walk away. And when all competitors burn out, the top one loses too because there's no one else competing. So no one is a real winner here. And it really does not help that both of the big endgame modes are PvP only. Everything else is so insignificant compared to the PvP modes. The PvP problem makes the first two issues so much worse. When you add all three of these problems together, you get the real Honkai experience. So I think the endgame being mostly PvP is actually the root of all evil here. So, does MiHoYo know about all these issues? Of course they do, and they have tried many different ways to change it. The most recent addition, the Path of Valkyrie locking, is I think a step in the right direction. It is a weekly event featuring only PvE content with meaningful rewards. I think the short-term solution is to add more PvE content with meaningful rewards, which the devs are already doing, and over time make the PvP less important. But with Genshin Impact taking up the resources in the company, and seeing how patch 3.2 release was riddled with bugs and poor optimization, the future for Honkai isn't looking too bright right now. As for the gacha and gear problem, I think it's a little too late to fix that now. The player base has been declining for a while now, and it's really hard to get a player to return. The best I can hope is that they don't make the same mistakes in their next game. And that's it for this video. What do you think about Honkai right now? Let me know in the comment section. The next Honkai video will probably be a character guide, so you guys can guess who it's gonna be. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.